Thrilled to be the kickoff speaker of this extraordinary day of self-discovery and community connection. You know, there's a reason why you are here physically. There's a reason why this is not happening through streaming video. Because human beings need to be with other human beings. How many of you have noticed that people who spend too much time by themselves are very strange? Exactly. So you are here to absorb whatever comes off the stage, but as importantly, you are here to pass on whatever moments of inspiration and insight you discover for yourself. And give this woman a medal. Okay, clearly in the mood to have a great time. And by the way, let me also say, just because, what's your first name? Angelica, ladies and gentlemen. Angelica, right? So Angelica let out a yelp of delight simply at seeing me, which is the dancing. Okay, we'll do it next time, not in front of so many people. But here's my message. This entire day will only go as well as the person in your chair allows it to go. So we've got almost 4,000 people in this room, and yet every single one of you is going to be as important as anyone who talks at you from the front of the room. And you are here not just to absorb the information, but you're here to absorb the inspiration that comes when you get 4,000 people who are committed to being the best they can in a room together. Now, can you imagine what would happen if 4,000 fired up people left this building wanting to change not just Ottawa, not just Ontario, not just Canada, but the world? It can happen because it happens one person at a time. You know, it used to be 6 degrees of separation. 6 people between every person on planet Earth. Now, because of Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and YouTube, it's now 3.9 people between you, me, and every other person on planet Earth. So my message today is absorb whatever you hear from this room, but then talk about it. Because how many of you have ever been to a seminar like this and heard some extraordinary speakers from the front of the room and thought to yourself, I know that. Well, that's obvious. And as they share it with you, because all the speakers here today are incredible communicators, they're going to keep it simple so that you get it. But until you share it, you don't know that you know. The only way that you know is when you can help somebody else know. Because have you noticed how fluent we are when we speak to ourselves? In fact, that's one of the reasons I'm so motivated. I attend all my own seminars, right? And so what I'll say to you is this. You are here today because you also want to leave with confidence. You want to feel enabled and empowered to handle what's known as a VUCA world. You know what VUCA means? Here's a new word for you. Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. I don't know about you, but every individual with whom I'm working right now is faced with 3 fundamental challenges. And by the way, the more senior you are, the more accomplished you are, the more you're going to be faced with these 3 challenges. Number 1, what the heck is going on? How many of you wake up every morning in a state of panic? Because you don't know what happened during the night. But you know, something did. You know, the chief disruptor in the White House let out another tweet that's not just going to rock the boat, it's going to capsize it. So every one of us in this room on any given day is wondering what is going on. The national state of mind is one of confusion and uncertainty. So the first question is, what the heck is going on? The second question, what the heck is going to happen? We all want to get a peek into the future. You know, if we go back thousands of years, the most valuable people in any community, in any culture, were people who could foresee what was about to happen. People who could interpret dreams. And now let's fast forward to this very day. Those are still the people who are the most desired, successful, and accomplished people in our culture. So all of us in this room are here to anticipate what's about to happen. And by the way, whether you agree with me or not is not important to me, but what I do know that you know is that I believe in what I'm saying, because I have seen the future, man. That's why I can talk with this degree of certainty. Now, whether your style is similar to mine or not, what people are listening for when you talk to them is how certain are you that things are going to happen in a certain way. And I'll make a confession to you. I am often wrong, but I'm never in doubt. In other words, I know that if I do things with a total clarity of purpose, a total certainty of action, if I talk like I am convinced of the merit of what I'm saying, other people are likely to believe. And then the message is to course correct as you go along. So to go back to the three questions, what the heck is going on? What the heck is going to happen? And then the third key question is, what should I do about it right now? So you have made the decision right now to be in this room. You have invested a day to work on yourself, not just in your business. You've taken time out to get this thing called perspective. And I'll tell you this, often the best perspective is the one that you do not currently have. I don't know about you, but oftentimes I've been confronted with what I think is an insoluble challenge. I've been stumped. How many of you have ever been confronted with a situation where you thought, this is it, I'm done, I'm never going to find my way out of this one? How many of you have felt like that? Right. And then you get into a conversation. You surround yourself with people who are really smart and committed and generous, who want to help you make it happen. You then have a conversation, and somebody in the meeting puts out a recommendation, puts out a potential course of action, and that's the solution. Has that ever happened? And you go, oh my God, that is it. And it's not because they're so smart, it's simply because they're looking at it from another point of view. So the best compliment that I can ever be paid by any client or any audience member is very simple. I never thought of it that way. So just turn to a person on either side of you, look them in the eyes, and just say, I will help you say, I never thought of it that way. This is the interactive part of the program. All right, great. So look, how many of you have been through major disruption in the past year? Right, by the way, disruption is a radical change that shatters the status quo. That is the age in which we live. It's not an incremental, gentle shift. It's a radical change. You go to bed on Monday, you wake up on Tuesday, and it's a very different environment. You know, if I was giving this talk in the Carolinas, I'd be communicating a very different message. I'd be talking about survival. I'd be talking about emerging from the havoc wreaked by Hurricane Florence. But you know, Hurricane Florence was a climatic hurricane. There were actual floodwaters that ravaged vast parts of the community. But we are living in an age where every single one of us faces our own version of Hurricane Florence. We're all facing that kind of disruption. And by the way, when I asked you whether you had been through disruption, if you didn't raise your hand, I don't know that you know what's going on. So let me give you the news. Now, what I'm about to say may occur to you as good or bad news. Things are the most stable they ever going to be right now. Things are the slowest they ever going to be right now. Things are the calmest they ever going to be right now. It all picks up from this moment on. So let me give you a quote from one of my favorite figures, Jeff Bezos, founder and chief executive of Amazon. And how many of you have noticed that I bear a remarkable similarity to Jeff Bezos? Give or take a couple $100 billion. But Jeff Bezos says it's always day one. So people often ask me, Mr. Lipkin, what's the number one secret of those people who are thriving on change? The number one secret of those people who are breaking through, who are innovating, who are disrupting, who are inspiring others. And I tell them that they see every single day as the very first day of whatever it is that they're doing. They never grow old. They don't let the old person in. They stay, in the words of Bob Dylan, forever young. Their role models are 1, 2, 3-year-old human beings. How many of you in this room have got young children at home under the age of 5? Okay, lots of young families in this room. So I challenge you, have you ever seen a 1-year-old or 2-year-old say, "Oh, I've seen all of this before. Different day, same crap. Here we go again." Or, this is the classic, "I'm too old for this shit." Right? You want to be the kind of person who does whatever you do every single day as though that is the day. This is my World Cup final. This is my 7th game of the World Series because I'm here, you here, and this is the most important talk I've ever given in the history of my life. And that is not a hyperbole. Can I just see by show of hands, how many of you in this room have never seen Mike Lipkin speak before? All right, everybody. Not that many people know how well known I am. But let me make a very important point. If you've never seen me before, you may never see me again. Therefore, based on 30 minutes exposure to me, you are going to take a perception of Mike Lipkin that could last a lifetime. That's what you're going to communicate on your social networks. That's what you're going to share with your friends and your community. And based on your comments, I get to do more work in Ottawa or not. It all comes down to this moment, man. And by the way, there's no difference between you and me. Every meeting is the meeting. So just turn to a person on either side of you, look them in the eyes, and just say, every meeting is the meeting. Yeah. Look, let me give you a very powerful insight here. In life, there's only 2 kinds of people. And of all the things I've said, this could be the most important one, along with everything else. There's only 2 kinds of people, right? There are people with whom you have to work. And then there are people with whom you want to work. And if someone is a have-to kind of person, they become what's known as a grudge activity. You think of that person and your heart sinks. You think of that person and you want to run in the opposite direction, but you have to work with them. And they become the reason why Monday is the most dreaded day of the week. On the other hand, want-to kind of people are the kind of people who make you excited for the end of the weekend. They are the people who elicit this kind of response when you come into the office on Monday. Yes, the weekend's over. It's Monday, baby. I get to meet with Mikey. Now, by the way, I'm a motivational speaker, can you tell? But so are you. Everyone in this room is a motivational speaker. You know what a motivational speaker is? It is someone who, after they've spoken to somebody else, leaves them feeling motivated. Now, some of you might be less exaggerated or ebullient or overstated than Mike. Notice how I refer to myself in the third person. You know why I refer to Mike Lipkin in the third person? Because what you are seeing right now is not the real Mike Lipkin. No, the real Mike Lipkin is a very shy, retiring introvert who is scared to even go to a bar by himself. Yeah, that's the real me. What you are seeing is the stage persona. This is Mike Lipkin, the motivator, in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to touch the lives of 4,000 people. So whatever I'm feeling inside is irrelevant to this moment. The only thing that matters is the impact I have on you, is the inspiration and the information and the insights I impart to you and how I frame the rest of the day. So let me just see by show of hands, how many of you in this room believe yourself to be introverts? Okay, hands down. How many of you are extroverts? Yeah, okay, good. How many of you are ambiverts? An ambivert is sometimes an introvert, sometimes an extrovert. So look, how many of you are skiers? Who likes to ski here, by the way? Okay, so let me ask you a crucial question. If you're skiing down the mountain, does the mountain care how you feel that day? The mountain doesn't care how you feel that day. All the mountain cares about is how you ski down the mountain. So you cannot see what's going on inside of me. All you can see is how I'm interacting with you. So one of my insights that I want you to take away is that you and I are actors on the stage called life. And we're all playing a role. And you got to play the kind of role that inspires others to play their role to perfection no matter what you feel. And sometimes it's going to be easier, and sometimes it's going to be harder. But let me share something with you that when it's hard, that means you're growing. If it's easy, that means you're in your comfort zone. So I want to give you this insight. You should only be comfortable when you're uncomfortable. There was a guy called Andy Grove, who's the founder of Intel Corporation. And he had a wonderful phrase. In fact, he wrote a book that you should read. It's called Only the Paranoid Survive. Just checking. So look, I've written this book called Dancing with Disruption. It is available for you during the course of the day. I'm even willing to sign it, because if I sign it, two things happen. Number one, you cannot return it. Number two, you get more for it on eBay. But in that book, I talk about 7 secrets to dancing with disruption. And let me tell you what they are. Number one, you need to be the person who really knows. You need to be able to talk about your domain, talk about your marketplace, talk about your community, talk about your function and your discipline with intimate knowledge, so that when people listen to you, they say to you and they say to others, that's the person who really knows, because we're living in an age of fake news where people are terrified that something that they reveal could be used to harm them. Number two, you want to have an audacious dream. You want to dream so big that when you share your dream with others, they say to you, that's crazy, that's never going to happen. But even if there are people like that, you want to share your dream with as many people as possible. So my dream is I want to move 100,000 copies of Dancing with Disruption in the next 12 months. And I know that as a result of today, I'm going to move 4,000. I've seen it happen. How many of you have got a big, audacious dream? Okay. By the way, that's what today is, understanding and developing that dream. Look, the third secret in Dancing with Disruption is you need to be simultaneously analytical and creative. Let me make that very simple for you. You need to zoom in. You need to understand the minutiae. You need to understand the details. You need to be able to go down into the microscopic issues of your world. And then you need to be able to zoom out and see the big picture. So you need to zoom in and zoom out. You need to see the dots, connect the dots, project the dots. Because that's how you help other people find their way to an uncertain future. Number 4, and this is as critical as the first 3, you want to be prolific. Winners will always lose more than losers because they're trying more things. You know, Mr. Motivator here gets far more no's than he does yeses. I get 9 no's for every yes. But when I get a yes, I make a lot of money. So when I get a no, it's a fraction of a lot of money. So when somebody says no to me, I go, yes, because I know I'm one step closer to a lot of money. Just turn to a person on either side of you, look them in the eyes and say, learn to love no. All right. Here's the 5th secret to dancing with disruption. Communicate like magic. Communication is magic. Let's do a quick exercise. I'm in the last 2 minutes here. Let's do a quick exercise. Turn to a person on either side of you, look them in the eyes and say, it is a privilege to sit next to someone of your caliber. All right. All right, come back to me. So in that moment, by the way, in that moment, I see people shaking hands. I see people hugging each other. I see people who know each other going even further. It's fantastic. Carry on. Because simply by saying those words, you created a chemical change in the other person's body. By the way, how many of you in this room are getting way too much appreciation? Who's got to turn to your boss and say, stop with all this kudos? We never get enough of that. So here's the 6th secret to dancing with disruption. It's a very simple, very powerful one. Collaborate like a champion. If you just collaborate, that means you work together to achieve a common goal. That's collaboration. When you collaborate like a champion, you persuade other people to give you more of their time and resources. And if you think about the one thing we're all in competition for, no matter what our category, no matter what our industry, it's other people's time. So you and I want to give other people a very high ROT. You know what that is? Return on time. Give them time, give them resources so that they want to give you even more. And by the way, the one thing that I've learned about Canadians, as a South African Canadian, is this country has the highest per capita concentration of nice people on the planet. If you do things for a Canadian, they will reciprocate. That's what our country is all about. That's our core value. So let me give you the seventh and the final secret to dancing with disruption, and this is what I run on. This is my high-octane fuel. This is the kind of fuel that you pay $7 a liter for. It's called unconditional enthusiasm. How would you have felt about me today if James would have introduced me as follows? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Mike Lipkin, one of the world's great motivators when he's in a good mood. You wouldn't have known who the heck am I getting. Now, I know that many of you, like me, are fans of Tim Horton, and underneath every Tim Hortons logo, from sea to shining sea, are two words. What are those two words? Someone said, always fresh. No, drive through. Just joking. Yeah. Always fresh. You, me, and Tim Hortons need to be always fresh. Look, I'm at the end of my time, and it's been an absolute privilege and pleasure for me to share my thoughts with you. I want you to squeeze the juice out of every second of every speaker from now until the end of the day, and most importantly, become that motivational speaker. Share what you've learned here today with as many people as possible, because that's how we change the world. One person, one conversation, one inspiration at a time. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yay! Thank you, Ottawa. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mike Lipkin rocks it. Hang on, let's do that. Excellent. Mike Lipkin. Mike Lipkin, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, how was that? Come on. You guys are on fuego. You guys are on fire. Two bald guys back to back. Can this get any better? Seriously.